What does it feel like to hold your breath for 6 hours and 43 minutes? Not metaphorically, not in some poetic sense. Literally. To slow your heart until it beats only 48 times per minute. To become so still that heat ripples dancing across the Afghan desert floor are the only movement in your entire field of vision. Master Chief Victoria Kincaid knows. She's done it 47 times, once for every confirmed kill. Once for every life she's taken from over 3/4 of a mile away. Once for every moment she became something other than human, something closer to a machine, something necessary. The mud isn't just mud anymore. It's a tomb waiting to happen. She lies prone on a ridgeline in Kandahar province. November 2021. The temperature hovers at 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Her ghillie suit blends perfectly with rocky terrain, making her invisible to the naked eye at 20 meters. Through her Schmidt and Bender scope, she watches a tall man with a thick beard and an AK-47 slung across his back. He's talking to someone inside a mud brick compound, gesturing with his hands. He has no idea that death is watching him from over 12,000 meters downrange, over 3/4 of a mile, a distance so vast that the bullet will travel for 2.1 seconds before it arrives, an eternity compressed into a heartbeat. Wind holding steady at 12 miles per hour left to right. Chief Petty Officer Wade Garrison whispers beside her. He's her spotter, her eyes when her eye is pressed to glass, gusting to 15, temperature rising, mirage effect increasing, Vic's breathing slows, her internal calculator runs numbers that would take most people a notepad to figure. MK-13 Mod 7 rifle, 300 Winchester Magnum round, elevation 8.2 mils. Windage 2.1 right to compensate for the crosswind. Bullet drop at this range 42 inches. Coriolis effect minimal at this latitude but still a factor. She adjusts by 0.3 mils. The math is perfect. The conditions are as good as they'll get in this hellscape. The target is stationary. Send it, Garrison says quietly. Vic's finger rests on the trigger. 2.5 pounds of pressure separate life from death. She thinks about her husband for exactly 1 second. Gunnery Sergeant Declan Kincaid, killed in action, Helmand Province, 2020. He would understand this moment. He always understood. She squeezes. The rifle bucks against her shoulder. The suppressor reduces the sound to a sharp crack instead of a thunderous boom. Through the scope, she watches the bullet's path. 2.1 seconds of flight time. It feels like an eternity compressed into a heartbeat. The Taliban commander's head snaps back. He drops like a puppet with cut strings. Confirmed kill, Garrison says into his radio. Target neutralized. Static crackles back, then a voice. Valkyrie, that's number 47. You just broke the DEVGRU record for a single deployment. Vic doesn't respond immediately. She's counting. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, waiting for return fire that doesn't come. The compound shows no reaction. They don't even know where the shot originated from. Roger, she finally says, moving to exfil position. She begins the slow process of extracting from her hide sight. Every movement calculated, every motion smooth. This is what 11 years of service looks like. This is what happens when a woman proves she belongs in the most elite fighting force on the planet. But that was then, this is now. 72 hours later, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Present day, January 2026. A Greyhound bus pulls up to the main gate. The brakes hiss like a dying animal. The door opens with a pneumatic wheeze. From inside the bus, a figure emerges, small, hunched, moving with the uncertain gait of someone who doesn't quite know where they belong. Private Harper Donnelly steps down onto the pavement. Her uniform is 2 sizes too large. The sleeves bunch at her wrists. The trousers pool around her boots. She carries a sea bag that looks like it weighs more than she does. She sets it down with a grunt that carries farther than it should in the morning air. A drill instructor watches from 50 feet away. He's seen 1,000 recruits arrive. This one looks like she'll last maybe 3 days. Harper doesn't notice him watching. She's too busy trying to figure out which building is which. The map she was given is folded incorrectly in her pocket. She doesn't want to pull it out and look lost. So instead, she just stands there, turning in a slow circle, looking progressively more confused. What the drill instructor doesn't know is that beneath the padding and the carefully applied makeup, beneath the contact lenses that change her eyes from ice blue to uncertain hazel, beneath the extensions that add length to her regulation short hair, Victoria Kincaid is mapping every exit, every window, every potential firing position within a 200-meter radius. This is what 11 years of SEAL training does to a person. You never stop assessing. You never stop preparing. Even when you're pretending to be the most incompetent Marine anyone has ever seen. Especially then. But why would a Navy SEAL Master Chief with 47 confirmed kills pretend to be a weak, confused Marine private? What kind of mission requires you to hide everything you are? To bury your strength so deep that no one can see it? The answer lies 48 hours earlier, in a place most people don't even know exists. JSOC headquarters at Fort Bragg exists in a bubble of secrecy so complete that most people who work on the base don't know exactly what happens inside. The building is unmarked. The windows are blast-resistant and tinted dark enough to make seeing inside impossible. The parking lot requires 3 separate security checks just to enter. Victoria Kincaid walks through those checkpoints without breaking stride. The guards know her. Master Chief. DEVGRU. 47 confirmed kills. Silver Star with Combat V device. Bronze Star with Valor. Navy Cross recommended but stuck in the bureaucratic machinery of military awards that move slower than continental drift. She's wearing her dress blues. The uniform fits perfectly because she had it tailored by a seamstress in Virginia Beach who has been fitting SEAL uniforms for 20 years. The ribbons on her chest tell a story of deployments across 4 theaters: Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, the Horn of Africa, places where Americans fight wars that most Americans don't even know are happening. The receptionist doesn't make her wait. She never does. Conference Room 3, Master Chief. The Colonel is expecting you. Vic nods her thanks and walks down a hallway lined with photographs of men who died doing things their families will never fully understand. She knows some of these faces. She trained with some of them. She held one of them while he bled out in Ramadi when she was still new to the teams. She doesn't let herself look too long. Conference Room 3 is soundproofed. The door is solid steel disguised as wood. Inside, one man waits at a table designed to seat 12. Colonel James Aldrich is 67 years old. He looks 55 because he still runs 5 miles every morning and still does the same calisthenics routine he learned at Marine Corps Officer Candidate School in 1981. His hair is gray at the temples, but his eyes are still the same predatory green they were when he was kicking indoors in Fallujah. He stands when Vic enters, old-school courtesy that most officers her age have forgotten. Master Chief Kincaid, thank you for coming. Sir, she doesn't salute. This is a closed environment. Salutes are for outside, for ceremony, for appearances. This is different. Sit, he gestures to a chair. What I'm about to ask you will be the hardest mission of your career, and you won't fire a single round. Vic sits, folds her hands on the table, waits. Aldrich opens a manila folder. Inside are photographs, Marines, young faces, hard faces. Faces that have seen combat and survived but carry the weight of it in their eyes. Bravo Company, 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines, Aldrich says, toxic culture. 7 documented hazing incidents in the past year. 2 suicide attempts. 1 successful suicide 3 months ago. Lance Corporal Rivera, 23 years old, hanged himself in the barracks shower. Left a note that said he couldn't take it anymore. Vic's jaw tightens. She's heard this story before. Different names, different units, same ending. The company commander is Captain Gregory Hollies, Aldrich continues. Former infantry officer. 2 deployments. Decorated, respected. Also completely incapable of seeing what's happening in his own unit. His senior enlisted, 1st Sergeant Marcus Thorne, runs the company like his personal fiefdom. Rules through fear and intimidation. creates an environment where weakness is punished and asking for help is seen as failure. Sir, with all due respect, why are you telling me this? I'm Navy. This is a Marine Corps problem. Aldrich slides another photograph across the table. It shows a young woman in Marine Corps dress blues. Pretty, confident, eyes that sparkle with something that looks like hope. Captain Amanda Aldrich, he says quietly, United States Marine Corps, my daughter, died by suicide in 2015. She was 28 years old. She left a note too. It said she was tired of proving herself every single day, tired of being judged not by her competence but by her gender, tired of a system that protected the people who made her life hell. The room goes silent. Vic looks at the photograph, looks at the colonel, sees something in his eyes that she recognizes. Grief. The kind that never fully heals, the kind that changes you at a cellular level. I've spent the last 10 years trying to fix this, Aldrich says. Policy changes, training programs, sensitivity courses. None of it works. You know why? Because you can't train someone to be a decent human being. You can only reveal who they already are and remove them when they fail the test. He pulls out another folder. This one is thicker, classified markings on the cover. Crucible Protocol, he says. It's an experimental program. We insert an undercover operator into a toxic unit, someone highly skilled who can pass as weak and incompetent, someone who can endure abuse and document everything, someone who can reveal the true character of leadership when they think no one important is watching. You want me to go undercover as a Marine recruit. Private Harper Donnelly, 22 years old, administrative specialist, just graduated from boot camp, scored low on her physical fitness tests, barely qualified on the rifle range. Looks like she'll wash out in the first month. Aldrich pauses, but underneath that cover you'll be assessing Captain Holly's and First Sergeant Thorne, watching how they treat their weakest Marines, documenting every instance of abuse, every failure of leadership, every moment when they choose cruelty over compassion. And when the assessment is complete, you reveal yourself in front of the entire company. You show them exactly who you are and what you've witnessed. You give them a choice: change or face formal investigation and court-martial. Vic thinks about this. Thinks about spending weeks, maybe months, being treated like garbage, being dismissed, being mocked, being everything she spent 11 years proving she wasn't. Sir, why me? You could use any operator for this. Aldrich looks at her with something that might be respect, or might be sadness, or might be both. Because you're a woman who's proven herself in the most male-dominated field in the military. Because you understand what it's like to be underestimated. Because you have the self-control to endure abuse without breaking cover. And because, he pauses, you lost someone too. Declan. Your husband killed in action. I read his file. Gunnery Sergeant Declan Kincaid, Marine Corps, Force Recon. He was one of the good ones. He treated people right. He would want this mission to succeed. Vic feels something tighten in her chest, a knot of grief and anger and purpose all twisted together. When do I start? 2 weeks. Time to create your cover identity. Change your appearance. Learn to be weak. Learn to fail. Learn to be exactly what these Marines expect a woman to be, so that when you reveal the truth, it destroys every assumption they've ever made. Vic stands. Aldrich stands with her. Master Chief, he says, this mission will break something inside you. Watching good people suffer while you do nothing. Enduring contempt from people who should know better. Pretending to be less than you are for weeks on end. It will cost you. Everything costs something, sir. The question is whether the cost is worth it. Is it? Vic thinks about Amanda Aldrich, thinks about Lance Corporal Rivera, thinks about Declan and all the good people the system failed. For your daughter, sir, for all of them, yes, it's worth it. Aldrich extends his hand. She shakes it. His grip is firm, steady, the grip of a man who has made terrible decisions for good reasons and learned to live with the consequences. Welcome to Crucible Protocol, Master Chief. May God have mercy on all of us. 2 weeks later, Vic barely recognizes herself in the mirror. Padding under her uniform makes her look soft. Makeup makes her look younger, less certain. Contact lenses change her eye color. Extensions add length to her hair, making it look like she's trying too hard to maintain femininity in a masculine world. She practices walking differently. Hesitant steps, uncertain posture, the physical embodiment of self-doubt. It makes her sick. Every instinct she's developed over 11 years screams at her to stand tall, move with confidence, project strength. But this mission requires the opposite. This mission requires her to become invisible by being exactly what they expect. The hardest part isn't the physical transformation, it's the mental preparation. Colonel Aldrich assigned her a psychologist, Dr. Sarah Chen, civilian, PhD in organizational psychology, specializes in trauma and resilience. They meet 3 times before Vic deploys to Camp Lejeune. You're going to experience something most operators never face, Dr. Chen says during their final session. You're going to be powerless, not because you lack power, but because the mission requires you to hide it. That's going to create cognitive dissonance. Your brain knows you're capable, but your role demands you act incapable. That disconnect can be destabilizing. I've been through worse. Have you? Dr. Chen's voice is gentle but firm. Have you ever been mocked by people you could kill with your bare hands? Have you ever had to smile and nod while someone treats you like you're worthless? Physical danger is one thing, Master Chief. Psychological degradation is something else entirely. Vic doesn't answer immediately. She thinks about Kandahar, about lying in the mud for 6 hours, about watching a man die through a scope, about the moment after the shot when she had to remain perfectly still, perfectly calm, perfectly professional, even though she had just ended a human life. I can handle it, she finally says. Dr. Chen makes a note. I believe you can, but I want you to promise me something. If it becomes too much, if you feel yourself breaking, you pull the plug. You reveal yourself early. You abort the mission. No objective is worth your mental health. Understood. Do you mean that, or are you just saying what you think I want to hear? Vic meets her eyes, holds her gaze. Both, probably. Dr. Chen smiles. At least you're honest, that's something. The night before Vic boards the bus to Camp Lejeune, she sits alone in her apartment in Virginia Beach. The place is sparse, functional, the kind of living space that belongs to someone who's never home. She has a few photographs on the wall. One shows her and Declan on their wedding day. He's in his dress blues. She's in a simple white dress. They're both smiling like they know something the rest of the world doesn't. Another photograph shows her SEAL team, 12 men in her, all of them armed. All of them dangerous, all of them family. She takes both photographs down, packs them carefully in a box, stores the box in her closet. Private Harper Donnelly wouldn't have these photographs. Private Harper Donnelly wouldn't have this life. Private Harper Donnelly is nobody. And for the next few weeks, Victoria Kincaid has to become nobody too. She lies in bed, stares at the ceiling, thinks about what Colonel Aldrich said. This mission will break something inside you. She wonders what will break first, her patience, her dignity, her sense of self, or maybe nothing will break. Maybe she's stronger than even she knows. Maybe 11 years of being a SEAL have prepared her for exactly this, for being underestimated, for being dismissed, for proving once again that she belongs. Sleep doesn't come easily, but when it does, she dreams of Declan. He's standing in a doorway backlit by desert sun. He's smiling. He says something she can't quite hear, but she knows what he would say if he were here. He would tell her she's crazy. He would tell her he's proud. He would tell her to come home safe. She always does, except for the times when she doesn't, except for the times when the mission requires something more than coming home safe. When it requires you to sacrifice pieces of yourself so that others don't have to. The alarm sounds at 04:30. She doesn't hit snooze. SEALs don't hit snooze. She gets up, showers, dresses in the oversized uniform, applies the makeup, inserts the contact lenses, clips in the extensions, looks in the mirror one last time. The woman staring back is a stranger, weak, uncertain, Everything Victoria Kincaid is not. Perfect. She picks up her sea bag. It's heavier than it needs to be because she packed it the way a nervous recruit would pack it, with too many things she won't need and not enough things she will. She takes one last look at her apartment, at the empty walls where photographs used to be, at the space that holds the ghost of the person she's about to stop being. Then she walks out the door, locks it behind her, and becomes someone else. The Greyhound bus smells like diesel fuel and stale coffee and the nervous sweat of people traveling to places they don't want to go. Vic Harper now sits in the back, watches the landscape roll by. Virginia becomes North Carolina. Cities become towns, become bases. The journey takes 8 hours. She doesn't sleep, doesn't read, just sits and breathes and prepares herself for what comes next. The bus pulls into Camp Lejeune at 1400 hours, right on schedule. The brakes hiss. The door opens. Harper Donnelly steps off the bus and into a role that will test every skill she's ever learned. Not the skill of shooting, not the skill of tactics, not the skill of warfare, the skill of endurance, the skill of patience, the skill of being less than you are so that others can reveal exactly who they are. And as she stands there, confused and uncertain, turning in a slow circle while a drill instructor watches from 50 feet away and judges her already, she thinks about Amanda Aldrich, about Lance Corporal Rivera, about all the people who stood in this exact spot and felt this exact confusion and didn't have the luxury of knowing it was all an act. This is for them. Every moment of humiliation, every second of contempt, every instance of being treated like she doesn't matter. This is for the people who were treated that way and had no recourse, no escape, no hope that someone was watching and documenting and preparing to make it right. Harper Donnelly looks weak because weak is what they expect. Weak is what they dismiss. Weak is what they reveal themselves around. And weakness, sometimes, is the most powerful weapon of all. Why does the drill instructor look at her like she's already failed? Why does his face show disappointment before she's even spoken a word? Because he's seen this before. He's watched countless recruits arrive with fear in their eyes and doubt in their posture. Most of them wash out. Most of them quit. Most of them prove that the military isn't for everyone, that some people simply don't have what it takes. And this new private, this Harper Donnelly, she looks exactly like the type who won't make it past week 1. Small, soft, uncertain, everything the Marine Corps is designed to weed out. Private Donnelly, the drill instructor, barks. His name tag reads Staff Sergeant Cruz. His voice could strip paint. You're late. Harper jumps, actually flinches. It's not an act. She's been practicing this reaction for 2 weeks, training her body to respond with fear instead of the calm readiness that 11 years of combat have ingrained. I'm sorry, Staff Sergeant. The bus was delayed and I tried to call, but I didn't have the right number and I. Save it. Cruz's face is stone. Grab your gear. Report to the battalion headquarters. Ask for First Sergeant Thorne. And Private, don't make me regret accepting you into this company. Yes, Staff Sergeant. Harper picks up her sea bag, staggers under the weight. It's heavier than it should be and she's making herself weaker than she is. The combination creates exactly the image she needs. Incompetent, struggling, out of place. She starts walking in the wrong direction, catches herself, turns around, sees Cruz shaking his head. The contempt is already forming. Perfect. Inside her left boot, taped to the liner where no one will ever find it, is a small digital recorder. Voice-activated, encrypted, it's already capturing everything. Every word, every interaction, every moment of this carefully constructed failure. But there's something else in that boot. 2 sets of dog tags. One belongs to Gunnery Sergeant Declan Kincaid, KIA Helmand Province 2020. The other belongs to Captain Amanda Aldrich, USMC, died by suicide 2015. Harper carries them like talismans, like reminders, like promises that this suffering has purpose. The walk to battalion headquarters takes 7 minutes. It should take 3. But Harper gets lost twice, stops to check the map, looks confused, acts confused, feels the weight of eyes watching her from windows, from doorways, from the smoking area where Marines gather between duties. They're already judging, already deciding, already writing her off. She can feel their assumptions settling over her like a heavy blanket. This one won't make it. This one doesn't belong. This one is a diversity hire, a political statement, a box that needed to be checked. Not a real Marine, not one of us. First Sergeant Marcus Thorne's office is exactly what she expected. Spartan, clean, flags on the wall, plaques from deployments. A photograph of Thorne shaking hands with a general. Everything arranged to project authority, competence, control. Thorne himself is 43 years old. Shaved head, thick neck, arms that strain against his uniform sleeves. He's physically intimidating in the way that men who have spent 20 years in the infantry are intimidating, all coiled muscle and controlled aggression. He looks up when Harper knocks on the doorframe. His eyes do a quick assessment. She watches his face harden. Private Donnelly reporting as ordered, First Sergeant. Thorne doesn't stand, doesn't smile, just leans back in his chair and studies her like she's a specimen under glass. So you're our new admin specialist. Yes, First Sergeant. You know what your predecessor did. No, First Sergeant. Quit, made it 3 weeks, couldn't handle the pace, couldn't handle the standards, couldn't handle being around real Marines. Thorne's voice is flat, clinical, like he's describing the weather. You going to quit too? No, First Sergeant. I'm going to work hard and do my best in. Your best, Thorne interrupts, probably isn't good enough, but we'll find out soon enough. You're assigned to Bravo Company. Captain Hollies is your company commander. You'll meet him tomorrow. For now, Staff Sergeant Cruz will show you to your barracks. Don't make me regret bringing you on board. I won't, First Sergeant. We'll see, dismissed. Harper salutes. Thorne returns it with the bare minimum effort required by regulation. She turns and walks out, feeling his eyes on her back, feeling the weight of his expectations, which are no expectations at all. He's already decided she'll fail. The question isn't if, it's when, and how spectacularly. The barracks are old, built in the 1980s, renovated in the 2000s, showing their age again now. Harper's room is a 10 by 12 square with 2 racks, 2 wall lockers, 1 desk. Her roommate hasn't arrived yet. She's alone. She sets her sea bag down, sits on the thin mattress, stares at the cinder block walls. This is going to be home for the next few weeks, maybe months. However long it takes to document what needs documenting. However long it takes to see the truth. She unpacks methodically, puts her uniforms in the wall locker, her personal items in the desk drawer, her boots under the rack, everything regulation, everything correct. But her hands shake while she does it, not from nerves, from anger, from the slow-burning rage that comes from being treated like she doesn't matter by people who don't know what she's sacrificed, what she's earned, what she's capable of. She breathes through it, controls it, channels it into something useful. Remember why you're here. Remember Amanda. Remember Rivera. Remember every person who was broken by a system that should have protected them. Her roommate arrives at 1800 hours. Lance Corporal Jessica Torres, 21 years old, motor transport operator. She's been in Bravo Company for 6 months. She takes one look at Harper and her face does something complicated. Sympathy mixed with wariness, mixed with something that might be pity. You're the new admin girl, Torres says. It's not quite a question. Harper Donnelly. Torres nods. Jessica, look, I'm going to be straight with you. This company is rough. First Sergeant Thorne runs it like we're still in Fallujah. If you show weakness, he'll crush you. If you ask for help, he'll call you weak. If you can't keep up, he'll make your life hell until you quit. I'm not going to quit. Torres looks at her like she said something naive. Everyone says that. Then they meet Thorne. Then they see how he treats people he thinks are inferior. Then they quit. She pauses. How'd you score on your PFT? Harper recites the numbers from her cover file. 2 pull-ups, 19-minute 3-mile run, 50 crunches. It's deliberately mediocre, deliberately weak. Exactly the kind of score that would mark her as someone who barely met minimum standards. Torres' face confirms what Harper already knows. Those numbers are blood in the water. Thorne's going to eat you alive. He thinks women shouldn't be in the infantry. thinks we lower standards, thinks we're a political experiment that's going to get people killed. And when he finds someone who fits his narrative, he makes an example out of them. Has he made an example out of you? Torres looks away. I keep my head down. Do my job, stay out of his way. It's the only way to survive here. What about Captain Hollies? Does he know what Thorne's doing? Torres laughs. It's not a happy sound. Hollies is a good officer, tactically sound, cares about the mission. But he's blind to what happens at the enlisted level. Thorne tells him everything's fine. Hollies believes him. And anyone who complains gets labeled a troublemaker. What happened to the last admin specialist, the one who quit? Tor's expression goes dark. Her name was Private Chen. She lasted 3 weeks. Thorne rode her constantly, called her weak, made her redo paperwork until she cried, then called her unprofessional for crying. She put in a request for transfer. Thorne denied it, said she needed to tough it out, so she quit the Marine Corps entirely. Went home. Last I heard, she was working at a grocery store in California. She pauses. She was good at her job. She just couldn't handle being treated like garbage every single day. Harper feels something cold settle in her stomach. This is what the mission is about. This is what needs to change. Did she file a complaint? She tried Inspector General, equal opportunity. Nothing came of it. Thorne's too smart. He doesn't leave evidence, doesn't put anything in writing, just grinds people down with 1,000 small cruelties until they break. Torres looks at Harper with something that might be concern. Listen, I don't know you, but you seem nice. My advice, keep your head down, don't stand out. Don't give Thorne a reason to notice you. And if it gets too bad, just quit. It's not worth your mental health. I appreciate the advice. But you're not going to take it. Harper meets her eyes. I'm here to do a job. Torres shrugs. Your funeral, just don't say I didn't warn you. That night Harper lies in her rack and listens to Torres breathe. Steady, deep, the breathing of someone who has learned to sleep through anything. Outside, the sounds of a military base settling into evening, distant voices, a vehicle engine, someone laughing, normal sounds. But underneath them, Harper can feel something else. A current of toxicity, a culture of fear, a system that protects the strong and crushes the weak. This is what she came to expose. This is what needs to be documented. This is what will change, one painful moment at a time. She thinks about Dr. Chen's warning. If it becomes too much, pull the plug. She thinks about Colonel Aldrich's daughter, about Lance Corporal Rivera, about Private Chen working at a grocery store because the Marine Corps broke something inside her. And she thinks about Declan, about what he would say if he were here. He would tell her the same thing he always told her before a mission. Stay focused. Stay strong. Come home. She whispers it to herself in the darkness. Stay focused. Stay strong. Come home. But she knows that coming home from this mission won't be about geography. It will be about whether she can maintain her identity while pretending to be someone else, whether she can endure contempt without internalizing it, whether she can watch good people suffer without breaking cover to help them. The hardest mission of her career. And she won't fire a single round. Sleep comes eventually. But it's thin and restless and full of dreams that don't make sense. When the alarm sounds at 0500, Harper wakes to her first full day as the weakest link in Bravo Company. And somewhere in the darkness, Master Chief Victoria Kincaid prepares for war. Formation at 0530 is the first test. Harper shows up 5 minutes early because punctuality is one thing she can't afford to fail at. The company forms up by platoon. She's assigned to Headquarters Platoon, the support Marines, the ones who handle admin, logistics, supply, the ones the infantry Marines barely acknowledge. She finds her spot in the formation, stands at attention, waits. First Sergeant Thorne walks the line, inspecting, judging. When he reaches Harper, he stops. Private Donnelly, your uniform is unsat. Harper's heart sinks. She spent an hour making sure everything was perfect. What specifically, First Sergeant? Your boots aren't bloused correctly. Left leg is riding up. Fix it. Harper kneels down, adjusts her trouser leg, reblouses her boot, stands back up. Better, First Sergeant. Thorne doesn't answer, just moves on. But she can feel the eyes of the other Marines on her. Some sympathetic, most indifferent, a few amused. She's been marked. The weak one, the one who can't even blouse her boots correctly. It's begun. Captain Gregory Hollies addresses the company. He's 32 years old, infantry officer, 2 deployments to Afghanistan, Bronze Star, Combat Action Ribbon. He speaks with authority and clarity, talks about training schedules, upcoming field exercises, maintenance standards. He sounds competent, professional. Nothing in his words suggests he knows what's happening in his own company. Nothing in his demeanor indicates he sees the fear in some of his Marines' eyes. He finishes his brief. Dismisses the company to their sections. Harper reports to the admin office. Staff Sergeant Alina Martinez runs the admin section. She's 35 years old, 15 years in the Marine Corps. She looks tired. Not physically tired, emotionally tired. The kind of tired that comes from fighting small battles every day and losing most of them. She looks at Harper when she walks in. "You're Donnelly." "Yes, Staff Sergeant." "Welcome to headquarters, platoon. I'm going to be straight with you because I don't have time for bullshit. This is the hardest admin job on this base. First Sergeant Thorne expects perfection. If you make a mistake, he will make you pay for it. If you can't keep up, he will replace you. Questions?" "No, Staff Sergeant." "Good. Your first task is to update the company roster. 43 changes from last week. Promotions, transfers, assignments. I need it done by 1200. Martinez slides a thick folder across the desk. It's a test. Harper can see that. 4 hours to do what should take 2 days. Impossible standards designed to set her up for failure. She takes the folder. "Yes, Staff Sergeant." Martinez watches her. There's something in her eyes, not quite sympathy, more like recognition, like she's seen this before, like she knows how this ends. Don't stay late trying to finish it. Thorne will use that against you too. Say you're inefficient, can't manage your time. Just do your best and be prepared for him to tell you it's not good enough. "Understood, Staff Sergeant." Harper sits at her desk, opens the folder, starts working. The task is tedious but not difficult. Update names, update ranks, update unit assignments, cross-reference with service records. It's the kind of work that requires attention to detail but not exceptional skill. She works steadily, methodically. By 1100 hours, she's halfway done. She's going to make it. But then First Sergeant Thorne walks into the admin office. He doesn't announce himself. Just appears like a storm cloud. "Private Donnelly, my office now." Harper stands, follows him. His office is 30 feet away. He closes the door behind them, sits behind his desk, doesn't offer her a seat. "Show me your progress on the roster update." Harper hands him the partially completed document. He flips through it. His face reveals nothing. Then he finds something, points to a line. "This Marine's rank is wrong." Harper leans in to look. The rank is correct according to the service record. "First Sergeant, the service record shows." "I don't care what the service record shows. I know this Marine. He was promoted 2 weeks ago. The paperwork hasn't caught up yet, but you should have verified with me before making assumptions." It's an impossible standard. How is she supposed to know about promotions that haven't been officially documented yet? But that's the point. The standard isn't about being right. It's about having a reason to criticize. "Yes, First Sergeant, I should have verified." "Yes, you should have." Thorne leans back in his chair. "You know what your problem is, Private." Harper remains silent. The question is rhetorical. You think following procedures is enough. You think if you do what you're told, that's sufficient. But the Marine Corps isn't about checking boxes. It's about initiative, ownership, knowing the answer before the question is asked. And you don't have that. You're reactive, passive, exactly what I expected. The words sting, not because they're true, but because beneath the cover, beneath the act, Victoria Kincaid is the opposite of everything Thorne just described. She's proactive, decisive, a master of anticipating problems before they arise, but Harper Donnelly can't be that. Harper Donnelly has to absorb this criticism, accept it, let it define her. "I'll do better, First Sergeant." "We'll see." Thorne hands the document back. Fix the roster. Have it on my desk by 1200. And private. If I find one more error, you'll be starting over from scratch. Yes, First Sergeant. Harper returns to her desk, checks the roster against Thorne's feedback, makes the correction, continues working. At 11:55 she finishes, prints the document, walks it to Thorne's office. He's not there. She leaves it on his desk, returns to her own desk, waits. At 1300 hours, Thorne emerges from his office. He's holding the roster. His face is neutral. He walks over to Martinez's desk. Staff Sergeant, this roster has 17 errors. Martinez looks confused. First Sergeant, I reviewed it myself. I didn't see. Then you weren't looking hard enough. Thorne drops the document on her desk. I expect better from this section. Get it fixed. Have it on my desk by 1500. He walks away. Martinez picks up the roster, starts reviewing it. Harper watches over her shoulder. Martinez goes through line by line, stops, frowns. These aren't errors, she says quietly. These are judgment calls, different ways to format the same information, all technically correct. Harper understands. The errors aren't errors, they're excuses, justifications for criticism, ways to maintain pressure, ways to ensure that no matter how hard she works, she's always falling short. Staff Sergeant, what should I? Martinez cuts her off with a look. Fix it the way he wants it. Don't argue, don't explain, just comply. It's the only way to survive. They spend the next 2 hours reformatting the document to match Thorne's unexpressed preferences. Different font sizes, different spacing, different organizational logic. It's make work, busy work, designed not to improve the document but to demonstrate control. At 14:55, Harper delivers the revised roster to Thorne's office. He's on the phone. She sets it on his desk. He doesn't acknowledge her. She leaves. At 16:30, the admin section secures for the day. Martinez stops Harper before she leaves. Listen, she says quietly, I know what he's doing. I've seen it before. He's testing you, seeing if you'll break, seeing if you'll quit. The last admin specialist quit after 3 weeks. The one before that lasted 5. He's betting you won't make it past 2. Why does he do this? Martinez looks around, makes sure they're alone. Because he believes women don't belong in combat arms, believes we lower standards, believes the only reason we're here is political correctness, and he makes examples out of people who fit his narrative, people who look weak, people who struggle, people like you. What about people like you? I don't fit his narrative. I'm good at my job. I deployed twice. I earned my place, so he leaves me alone, but he uses me to hurt others, makes me enforce his impossible standards, makes me complicit. Martinez's voice drops even lower. I've tried to help people, tried to push back. He threatened to ruin my career, said I was undermining good order and discipline. So now I keep my head down and hate myself for it. Harper feels something sharp in her chest. Not anger, not surprise, recognition. This is the system. This is how it works. Good people forced to enable bad behavior because resistance is too costly. Has anyone ever reported him? 3 people, all 3 were labeled troublemakers. All 3 were transferred to worse assignments. All 3 left the Marine Corps. Martinez meets her eyes. The system protects people like Thorne. He knows how to work it, knows how to avoid leaving evidence, knows how to make you look like the problem. So my advice, again, is keep your head down, or get out before he destroys you. Harper nods. Thank you for being honest, Staff Sergeant. I'm being selfish. I don't want to watch another person get broken. I'm tired of being a witness to suffering I can't stop. That night, Harper lies in her rack. The digital recorder in her boot has captured everything. Every word, every impossible demand, every moment of design failure. It's evidence, documentation, proof, but it's also exhausting. She's been Harper Donnelly for exactly 1 day, and she can already feel the weight of it. The constant performance, the suppression of instinct, the acceptance of contempt from people she could physically dominate without effort. Dr. Chen was right. This is different from physical danger. This is psychological warfare. and the enemy doesn't even know there's a war. Tours comes in at 2100 hours. How was your first day? Productive. Tours laughs, that's one way to describe it. She sits on her rack, starts unlacing her boots. Let me guess. Thorn found problems with your work, made you redo it, then found more problems, then made you redo it again. Something like that. Classic Thorn. He does it to everyone he thinks is weak. Grinds them down, makes them doubt themselves, makes them think they're the problem. Tours pauses. You know what the worst part is? Some of his victims start to believe it, start to think maybe he's right. Maybe they don't belong, maybe they should quit. That's when he wins. Have you ever thought about quitting? Every day, but I'm stubborn, and I have nowhere else to go, so I endure. Harper thinks about Amanda Aldrich, about Lance Corporal Rivera, about Private Chen, about all the people who endured until they couldn't anymore. What happens to the people who can't endure? Tours looks at her. Some quit, some transfer, some break. She doesn't say the rest, doesn't mention the ones who make permanent decisions, but it hangs in the air between them anyway. The unspoken truth, the cost of toxicity, the price of a system that values strength over humanity. That night Harper dreams again, but this time it's not Declan. It's Amanda Aldrich standing in the same doorway, backlit by the same desert sun, but her face is different, younger, hopeful. She's saying something Harper can't quite hear, but she knows what she's trying to say. Keep going, don't quit, make it mean something. When Harper wakes at 0500, her face is wet. She's been crying in her sleep. She wipes the tears away, gets up, gets dressed, becomes Harper Donnelly again. Because the mission isn't about her comfort. It's about making sure no one else has to stand in that doorway. No one else has to make that choice. No one else has to believe the lie that they don't belong. Day 2 begins, and it's already harder than day 1. The uniform feels heavier. The act feels more exhausting. The contempt feels more personal, but she pushes through. Because somewhere in the darkness, Master Chief Victoria Kincaid is still here, still watching, still documenting, still preparing for the moment when Harper Donnelly disappears, and the truth finally speaks. The field exercise begins at 0600 on day 5. Full combat load. 72 hours in the field, tactical movement, live fire ranges, simulated combat scenarios. Bravo Company loads into 7-ton trucks and drives to a training area 40 miles from base. The terrain is brutal, pine forests, swamps, hills that seem designed to break legs and spirits. Harper's ruck weighs 85 pounds. It's the standard load. But she's been making herself appear weaker, and now that weakness is being tested for real. The company forms up at the rally point. Captain Hollies gives the brief. We're going to move 10 kilometers to our patrol base, tactical column, noise and light discipline after we cross phase line red. This is a combat environment, treat it seriously. First Sergeant Thorne adds his own guidance. Anyone who falls out will be considered a liability. Liabilities don't deploy. Liabilities don't serve in combat units. If you can't hack a 10-kilometer movement with basic load, you don't belong here. The movement begins. Harper positions herself in the middle of the column, not leading, not falling behind, just maintaining. The first 2 kilometers are manageable, the terrain is flat, the pace is moderate, but then they hit the hills. The ruck starts to feel like it weighs 200 pounds. Her shoulders scream, her hips ache, her legs burn. This is where the act becomes dangerous. She could complete this movement easily. She's done worse in SEAL training, completed Hell Week, past land warfare, operated under combat loads in Afghanistan. But Harper Donnelly isn't supposed to be able to do this. Harper Donnelly is supposed to struggle. So she struggles, deliberately, carefully, just enough to look weak but not enough to actually fall out. Her breathing gets heavier, her pace slows slightly, not enough to lose contact with the Marine ahead of her but enough to be noticeable. First Sergeant Thorne is walking up and down the column, watching, judging. When he reaches Harper, he stops walking beside her. Tired Private. No, First Sergeant, doing fine. Your breathing says otherwise. Your pace says otherwise. Your face says otherwise. I can keep up, First Sergeant. Can you? Because right now you look like you're about to fall out. And if you fall out, everyone knows what that means. It means you're weak. It means you don't belong. It means you're exactly what I thought you were. Harper doesn't respond, just keeps walking, keeps breathing, keeps suffering through discomfort that's entirely manufactured. Thorne walks with her for another 100 meters. You know what your problem is, Private? You think determination is enough. You think wanting it badly enough will make you strong enough. But the Marine Corps doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your performance. And your performance is substandard. He moves on. Harper watches him go, watches him stop beside other Marines, watches him offer encouragement to some, criticism to others. The pattern is clear. Men get encouragement, women get criticism, strong Marines get praise, weak Marines get contempt. It's not random, it's systematic. It's a culture built on a foundation of who belongs and who doesn't. And Harper Donnelly definitely doesn't belong. They reach the patrol base at 1100 hours, 4 hours and 40 minutes for a 10-kilometer movement, slower than standard but acceptable given the terrain. The company sets up defensive positions, establishes sectors of fire, digs fighting holes. Harper is assigned to a hole with Lance Corporal Torres. They dig for 3 hours. The ground is hard, rocky. Every shovelful requires real effort. Torres works efficiently. Harper works slower, not incompetently, just less efficiently. Like someone who hasn't done this 1,000 times before. Halfway through, Torres stops digging, looks at Harper. You're not that weak. Harper freezes. What do you mean? I've been watching you. You control your breathing too well. You pace yourself too carefully. You're struggling, but it's like you're choosing how much to struggle. Torres leans on her shovel. Who are you? This is dangerous. The mission could end right here. If Torres suspects something, if she tells someone, if word gets back to Thorne before Harper is ready to reveal herself, the entire operation fails. I don't know what you're talking about. Bullshit, I've seen weak Marines. You're not one of them, you're hiding something. Harper makes a decision, a calculated risk. She drops the act just for a moment, just enough. Meets Tor's eyes with the full weight of 11 years of combat experience. You're right, I'm not that weak, but I need you to keep that between us. Can you do that? Tor stares at her. The confusion on her face shifts to something else. Recognition maybe, or respect. Why are you pretending? Because sometimes the only way to see the truth is to become the person everyone underestimates. Tors, I need you to trust me. I'm not here to cause problems. I'm here to fix them. But I can't do that if people know what I really am. Tors is quiet for a long moment. Then she nods. Okay, I don't understand it, but okay. She pauses. Are you some kind of Inspector General plant? Something like that. Good, because this company needs help, and Thorne needs to be stopped before he breaks someone else. That's exactly why I'm here. They finish digging the fighting hole in silence, but something has shifted. Tors knows not everything, but enough. And Harper has made an ally. It's a risk, but it's also a necessity, because this mission can't succeed in complete isolation. Sometimes you need witnesses, people who can confirm what happened, people who can testify to the truth. Tors just became one of those people. The field exercise continues through the night. Tactical movements, ambush drills, defensive operations. Harper performs adequately, not brilliantly, just well enough to avoid complete failure. But Thorne finds reasons to criticize anyway. Her sectors of fire are wrong. Her noise discipline is poor. Her uniform is dirty. Every interaction is designed to reinforce the same message. You don't belong, you're not good enough. You'll never be one of us. On the second night, something changes. The company is running a night movement. No lights, no talking, just movement through darkness guided by night vision and hand signals. Harper is in the middle of the column again. The Marine ahead of her is Corporal James Davidson, 24 years old, infantry, 3 deployments. He's one of Thorne's favorites. Strong, competent. Everything a Marine should be according to Thorne's standards. They're moving through a swamp, knee-deep water, thick vegetation. The kind of terrain where one wrong step means falling face first into mud. Davidson is moving too fast, pushing the pace. Harper is keeping up, but just barely. Then Davidson stops suddenly. Harper nearly collides with him. He turns around. His face is invisible behind night vision, but his voice is clear. "Slow the fuck down, Donnelly. You're making too much noise." Harper hasn't made any noise. She's been moving carefully, deliberately, but Davidson doesn't care about facts. "Sorry, Corporal." Sorry doesn't cut it in combat. You make noise, you get people killed. You understand that? "Yes, Corporal." "Do you? Because right now you're a liability, and liabilities don't belong in this company." It's an echo of Thorne's words, proof that the culture spreads from the top down, proof that toxicity is contagious. Davidson moves on, Harper follows, but something inside her is calculating, documenting, recording, not just with the digital device in her boot, with her mind, with her memory, with the part of her that knows this isn't about one bad leader. It's about a system that creates and protects bad leaders. The field exercise ends at 1400 on day 3. The company returns to base. Everyone is filthy, exhausted, ready for showers and sleep. But Thorne has other plans: formation in 30 minutes, full uniform inspection. Anyone who doesn't pass will rerun the entire field exercise next weekend. It's punishment disguised as standards. Everyone knows it, but no one can object without being labeled a complainer. So they comply, shower, change into clean uniforms. Form up for inspection. Thorne walks the line with a microscope, finds problems everywhere: a thread out of place, a scuff on a boot, a wrinkle in a blouse. Most of the company passes with minor corrections, but when he reaches Harper he stops, gives her the longest inspection she's ever endured, 5 full minutes of scrutiny. Finally he steps back. "Private Donnelly, your uniform is unsatisfactory, creases not sharp enough, boots not bloused correctly, belt buckle 2 degrees off center. You fail. Report to my office after formation." "Yes, First Sergeant." The company is dismissed. Harper reports to Thorne's office. He's sitting behind his desk. Captain Hollies is there too. This is unusual. Hollies normally doesn't involve himself in enlisted matters. "Private Donnelly," Hollies says, "First Sergeant Thorne has expressed concerns about your performance." His voice is professional, not unkind, but also not particularly warm. "I wanted to hear your side." "Sir, I'm working hard to meet the standards. I know I've made mistakes, but I'm learning." Hollies nods. "I appreciate that. But the Marine Corps has standards for a reason. Those standards exist to ensure unit readiness, to make sure that when we deploy, everyone can do their job. Do you believe you can meet those standards?" It's a loaded question. If she says yes, she's calling Thorne's assessment wrong. If she says no, she's admitting she doesn't belong. Harper chooses her words carefully. "Sir, I believe that with proper training and mentorship I can meet the standards, but I also understand that I have a lot to learn." Thorne interrupts. "Sir, with all due respect, some people just aren't cut out for this. Private Donnelly has been here 5 days. In that time she's consistently underperformed, failed to meet basic administrative standards, struggled through a simple field exercise, shown no signs of improvement. My professional recommendation is that we reassign her to a non-combat support unit, somewhere she can contribute without being a liability." Hollies considers this, looks at Harper. "Private, do you have anything to say to that?" Harper meets his eyes, sees something there, not malice, not even indifference, just bureaucratic detachment. The kind of leadership that trusts subordinates too much, that doesn't ask hard questions, that takes reports at face value. "Sir, I respectfully disagree with the First Sergeant's assessment. I understand I have weaknesses, but I'm committed to improving. I'm not asking for special treatment, just the same opportunity to succeed or fail that any other Marine would get." Hollies nods slowly. "That's fair. First Sergeant, let's give Private Donnelly 2 more weeks. If she shows improvement, she stays. If not, we'll discuss reassignment. Sound reasonable?" Thorne's face remains neutral, but Harper can see the frustration in his eyes. "Yes, sir. 2 weeks." "Dismissed, Private." Harper salutes, leaves. She can hear them talking behind the closed door, can't make out words but can hear the tone. Thorne is arguing, Holly's is placating. The conversation ends. The door opens. Thorne walks past her without acknowledgement. Holly's follows, stops, looks at her. Private Donnelly. For what it's worth, I think everyone deserves a fair chance. Don't make me regret giving you one. I won't, sir. He walks away. Harper stands alone in the hallway. 2 weeks. 2 weeks to document enough evidence to justify the revelation. 2 weeks to endure this torture. 2 weeks to maintain the act while pieces of her real self scream for release. She thinks about Dr. Chen's warning. If it becomes too much, pull the plug. She thinks about Amanda Aldrich, about Lance Corporal Rivera, about all the people who didn't get 2 weeks, who didn't get a fair chance, who were crushed by a system that should have protected them. 2 weeks. She can do 2 weeks. She's endured worse, much worse. This is just a different kind of hell. The kind where the enemy doesn't shoot at you. The kind where the wounds are invisible. The kind where the battle is fought entirely in the space between who you are and who you're pretending to be. She walks back to the barracks. Torres is waiting. Well, 2-week probation. If I don't improve, I'm gone. Torres nods. Then we make sure you improve, or at least appear to. Whatever this mission is, we finish it. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thorne is going to double down now that Holly's gave you a reprieve. The next 2 weeks are going to be hell. Harper smiles. It's the first genuine smile she's allowed herself since becoming Harper Donnelly. I've been through worse, trust me. That night she calls Colonel Aldrich. Uses an encrypted phone, speaks quietly. Sir, it's Kincaid. Aldrich's voice crackles through. Status report. I've been on site for 5 days. Documentation is solid. First Sergeant Thorne is exactly what the reports indicated. Systematic harassment, impossible standards, targeting based on gender. Captain Holly's is blind to it, trusts Thorne completely. Doesn't ask questions. How are you holding up? Honestly, sir, it's harder than I expected. Not physically. Mentally, watching good Marines suffer while I document but can't intervene. That's the job. Aldrich's voice is gentle but firm. You're there to observe and report, not to fix it in real time. The fix comes when you reveal yourself. I know, sir, I just want to make sure we have enough evidence. How much more do you need? 2 weeks. Holly's gave me a 2-week probation. I'll use that time to document as much as possible. Then I'll initiate the reveal. Approved. Aldrich pauses. Victoria, remember what we discussed. This mission breaks something inside you. Don't let it break the wrong things. Keep your core intact. I will, sir. And Victoria, my daughter would be grateful for what you're doing. So am I. Thank you, sir. The call ends. Harper sits on her rack, looks at her hands. They're steady, strong, capable, but Harper Donnelly's hands are supposed to be weak, uncertain, trembling. The disconnect is exhausting. 2 weeks. She can maintain the act for 2 weeks. And then Harper Donnelly will disappear. And Victoria Kincaid will show Bravo Company exactly who they've been underestimating. The next morning begins with another impossible task. First, Sergeant Thorne assigns Harper to inventory the entire company supply cage. Alone, in 4 hours. It's a job that normally takes 3 people 2 full days, but Thorne doesn't care about normal. He cares about setting her up for failure. Private Donnelly, he says, handing her a clipboard, full inventory, every item, every serial number, everything accounted for. I need it done by 1200. If anything is missing or miscounted, you'll be held personally responsible. Yes, First Sergeant. Harper takes the clipboard, enters the supply cage. It's a warehouse-sized room packed with everything from ammunition cans to generator parts, thousands of items, tens of thousands of serial numbers. 4 hours, it's impossible, and that's exactly the point. She starts working anyway, not because she can finish, but because the recorder in her boot is capturing everything. This impossible task, this designed failure, this casual cruelty disguised as standards. She works steadily, methodically. By 1100, she's completed maybe a quarter of the inventory. By 1145, she's halfway through. It's actually impressive progress given the scope, but it's not complete, and incomplete means failure. At 1200, Thorne arrives. Let's see your progress. Harper hands him the partially completed inventory. Thorne flips through it. His expression doesn't change. but she can see the satisfaction in his eyes. This is what he wanted. Proof that she can't hack it. You didn't finish. No, First Sergeant, I completed approximately half of the inventory. That wasn't what I asked for. I asked for a complete inventory. Yes, First Sergeant, so you failed. Yes, First Sergeant. Do you know what happens when you fail in combat, Private? People die. Equipment doesn't arrive. Missions fail. Marines get killed because someone couldn't do their job. And right now you can't do your job. I understand, First Sergeant. I don't think you do. I think you believe effort is enough. That trying hard counts for something, but in the real world, results are what matter. And your results are consistently substandard. Harper doesn't respond. What is there to say? The game is rigged. The standards are impossible. The outcome is predetermined. But that's the point. The mission isn't to win these small battles. It's to document the war. Thorne continues. You have until 1600 to complete the inventory. And since you're struggling with time management, you'll do it without lunch. No break, no food, no water, just you and this supply cage until the job is done. Yes, First Sergeant and Private, if you don't finish by 1600, you'll start over from the beginning tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that, until you either complete it correctly or quit. We both know which is more likely. He leaves. Harper stands alone in the supply cage, surrounded by metal shelves and cardboard boxes and the physical manifestation of institutional indifference. She breathes, controls the anger, channels it into documentation. The recorder is capturing this, all of it, the impossible task, the denial of food and water, the threat of endless repetition, evidence. But evidence doesn't make the hunger go away, doesn't make the exhaustion less real, doesn't make the humiliation hurt less. She gets back to work, counts items, records serial numbers, fills out forms. The afternoon drags on. 1500, 1530, 1545. At 1555 she's done. Complete inventory, every item, every serial number, double-checked, triple-checked, perfect. She brings it to Thorne's office at exactly 1600. He's waiting. Lets her stand at attention for 5 full minutes before acknowledging her. Thorne reviews the inventory, page by page, line by line, looking for any excuse to reject it. After 20 minutes, he sets it down. It's acceptable. Thank you, First Sergeant, but you missed lunch, and you'll miss dinner too, because now you're going to reorganize the supply cage according to this new layout. He hands her a diagram. Everything is in different places. Everything needs to be moved. It's another impossible task, another designed failure, another test she's supposed to fail. When do you need it completed, First Sergeant? By 0800 tomorrow. You work through the night, you should be able to finish. If not, well, we both know what happens then. Yes, First Sergeant. Harper takes the diagram, returns to the supply cage, begins moving heavy boxes and equipment. Her body is strong enough for this. She's carried wounded teammates through enemy fire. She's humped 100 pounds of gear through mountains. This is nothing physically, but mentally it's crushing, because it's not about the work. It's about the message. You don't matter, you're not good enough. I will break you. At 2100 hours, Lance Corporal Torres appears. She's carrying 2 sandwiches and a water bottle. Thought you might be hungry. Harper wants to cry. Can't, not here, not now, thank you. Torres helps her move equipment. They work in silence. At 2300, Staff Sergeant Martinez arrives. Heard you pulled an all-nighter. She starts helping too. They don't talk about why Thorne is doing this. They don't discuss the unfairness. They just work. 3 women moving heavy boxes in a supply cage at midnight because one of them is being systematically destroyed and the other 2 can't bear to watch it happen alone. By 0700, they're done. Everything reorganized, everything in place, exactly as the diagram specified. Harper delivers the completion report to Thorne's office at 0755. He's there, waiting, reviews the work, finds nothing wrong, because there's nothing wrong to find. Good. He doesn't say anything else. Doesn't acknowledge the all-nighter, doesn't recognize the effort, just dismisses her with a wave. Harper staggers back to the barracks, falls onto her rack fully clothed. Torres covers her with a blanket. Sleep, she says softly, I'll cover for you at formation. Harper wants to protest. Can't. Sleep takes her before she can form words. She sleeps through formation, sleeps through the morning training, sleeps through lunch. Wakes at 1400 to find a note from Martinez. Took care of it with Thorne. Said you were doing admin work. Rest. She lies there, stares at the ceiling, counts the days. 7 down, 7 to go, halfway through the 2-week probation, halfway to the reveal, but pieces of her are fragmenting. The lines between Harper and Victoria are blurring. She catches herself thinking in third person, watches herself from outside her body, feels the dissociation that Dr. Chen warned about. This is what breaking feels like. Not a sudden snap, a slow crack, a gradual dissolution of the boundaries that separate self from performance. She pulls out her phone. No messages, no calls. She's alone in this. Alone in a way that even combat never made her feel. Because in combat you have teammates, people who know who you are, people who see your strength. Here everyone sees weakness, everyone believes the lie, everyone treats her like she's nothing. And some part of her, some deep and terrible part, is starting to wonder if they're right. She texts Dr. Chen. 3 words, "It's getting hard." The response comes immediately. "Do you need extraction?" Harper types. "No," then breathe. Then deletes it, types again, "Not yet." The response, "I'm here if you need me." "Remember who you are." Harper looks at the message. "Remember who you are." Who is she? Master Chief Victoria Kincaid, Navy SEAL, 11 years of service, 47 confirmed kills, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Navy Cross pending, wife of a fallen hero. Daughter of a system that almost broke her but didn't. Almost. But she's close now. Closer than she's ever been. Closer than Kandahar or Ramadi or any firefight, because bullets can only kill your body. This mission is attacking something deeper, your sense of self, your conviction that you matter, your belief that suffering has purpose. She thinks about Amanda Aldrich, about the note she left, tired of proving herself every single day. Victoria understands that now, understands it in her bones, the exhaustion of constant vigilance. The weariness of knowing that no matter what you achieve, some people will always see you as less. The crushing weight of fighting for basic dignity every single moment of every single day. She could end this right now. Pull the plug, reveal herself. Show Thorne exactly who he's been tormenting. But it's not time yet. She doesn't have enough evidence. Doesn't have enough documentation. Doesn't have enough to guarantee that when she reveals the truth, it will change the system, not just punish one man. So she gets up. Splashes water on her face, puts on her uniform, becomes Harper Donnelly again, because the mission isn't about her. It's about everyone who comes after, everyone who won't have to endure this if she can make it mean something. 7 more days. She can do 7 more days. She has to. At 1600, there's a knock on her door. Captain Holly's. "May I come in, Private?" "Yes, sir." Holly's enters, closes the door behind him. This is unusual. Officers don't typically visit enlisted barracks, especially not company commanders. He looks uncomfortable. "Private Donnelly, I wanted to check on you. First Sergeant Thorne mentioned you've been working extra hours. I wanted to make sure you're holding up." "I'm fine, sir." "You don't look fine. You look exhausted." Holly's pauses. "Look, I know the standards here are high. That's intentional. We're a combat unit. We deploy to dangerous places. Everyone needs to be able to perform. But I also want to make sure the standards are being applied fairly." "Do you believe they're being applied fairly, sir?" Holly's hesitates. "That's what I'm trying to determine. Have you experienced anything you consider unfair treatment?" Harper makes a calculation, tests something. "Sir, I've been given several tasks that seem designed to be impossible. Inventory a warehouse in 4 hours. Reorganize it overnight. When I complete them, I'm given new impossible tasks. It feels less like training and more like punishment. For what? I'm not sure, sir. Maybe for being female, maybe for being weak. Maybe just for existing in a space where someone doesn't think I belong." Holly's face does something complicated. Concern mixed with discomfort mixed with something that might be recognition. "Those are serious allegations, Private. I'm not alleging anything, sir. I'm just describing my experience. If that experience is consistent with proper standards, then I need to improve. If it's not, then maybe the standards aren't the problem." Holly's is quiet for a long moment. "I'll speak with First Sergeant Thorne." "Thank you, sir." "And Private, don't quit. Give me 2 weeks to assess the situation properly. If there's a problem, I'll fix it. If there's not, I'll expect you to adapt." "Fair enough." "Yes, sir." He leaves. Harper sits on her rack. That conversation will have consequences. Thorne will know she complained, will know she went over his head in a way, will double down even harder, but that's good. That's what the mission needs. Because the reveal only works if the toxicity is undeniable. if the pattern is so clear that no one can dismiss it. And Holly's response, however well-intentioned, proves something important. He wants to believe the best about his unit, wants to trust Thorne. Will look for reasons to justify the status quo rather than confront uncomfortable truths. That's the culture. That's what needs to change. That night, Thorne calls Harper to his office. Captain Hollis tells me you have concerns about how you're being treated. Yes, First Sergeant. Thorne leans back in his chair. Let me be very clear, Private. I treat everyone in this company exactly the same. I hold everyone to the same standards. If you're struggling to meet those standards, that's a you problem, not a me problem. I understand, First Sergeant, do you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're trying to play the victim, trying to excuse your failures by claiming discrimination. That's not what I'm doing, First Sergeant. Then what are you doing? Harper meets his eyes, trying to understand why the standards I'm being held to are different from the standards applied to others. They're not different. Yes, First Sergeant. They are. Give me one example. The inventory task. 4 hours for a job that normally takes 3 people 2 days. That's an impossible standard. And yet you completed it, which proves it wasn't impossible. It was just difficult. And difficult is what this job requires. Harper realizes the trap. Every impossible task she completes is used as evidence that the task wasn't impossible. Every success is turned into justification for more extreme demands. It's a system designed to ensure that no level of performance is ever good enough. I see, First Sergeant, I hope you do. Because tomorrow we're running a company PFT. Full test, pull-ups, crunches, 3-mile run, and I expect you to score at least second class. If you don't, you're done. I don't care what Captain Holly says. You'll be recommended for administrative separation. Yes, First Sergeant, dismissed. Harper leaves, walks back to the barracks, sits on her rack, thinks. A second-class PFT for a female Marine requires 4 pull-ups, 70 crunches, and a 21-minute 3-mile run. Harper's cover file shows she can barely do 2 pull-ups. She's been maintaining that weakness throughout her time here. If she suddenly does 4, it will raise questions, but if she doesn't, the mission ends. She's stuck between 2 impossible choices: maintain the cover and fail out, or break the cover and compromise the mission. Unless there's a third option. She pulls out her phone. Texts Colonel Aldrich. Mission compromise imminent. PFT tomorrow. Cover identity can't pass required standards. Request guidance. The response comes 10 minutes later. Maintain cover. Document failure. Prepare for early reveal if separated. Mission success doesn't require full 2 weeks. Quality of evidence matters more than quantity. Harper reads the message 3 times. Understands. The mission isn't about enduring the full probation period. It's about documenting a pattern clear enough to justify action. She's done that. 7 days of impossible tasks, designed failures, systematic harassment, all recorded, all documented. If tomorrow's PFT ends in separation, that's just more evidence, more proof, more ammunition for the reveal. She texts back. Understood. Proceeding with documented failure. Will initiate reveal upon separation. Aldrich's response. Victoria, you've done well. Don't let the ending diminish what you've accomplished. Thank you, sir. She puts the phone away, lies back, feels something strange, relief. The mission is almost over. Harper Donnelly is almost gone. Victoria Kincaid can almost come back, but there's something else too, sadness. Because tomorrow, when she fails that PFT, she'll be proving Thorne right, confirming his bias, reinforcing his belief that women don't belong. Yes, the reveal will come later. Yes, the truth will speak. But in the moment in front of the entire company, she'll be weak. She'll be exactly what they expect. And even though it's an act, even though it's strategic, some part of her hates it, hates performing weakness, hates confirming prejudices, hates being less than she is. But that's the cost. That's the sacrifice. And tomorrow she'll pay it. Because sometimes strength looks like weakness. Sometimes winning looks like losing. Sometimes the only way to change a system is to let it break you in front of everyone who's watching. The morning of the PFT, the air feels different, heavier, like the atmosphere knows something is about to change. Harper wakes at 0500, gets dressed, doesn't bother with makeup, doesn't bother with the extensions. She's done pretending for pretending's sake. Today is about documentation. Today is about creating a moment so clear, so undeniable that when the truth finally speaks, no one can look away. Formation at 0600. The company forms up on the parade deck. First Sergeant Thorne stands at the front. Captain Holly's beside him. Today is company PFT, Thorne announces. Full test, scored to standard. Anyone who fails will be counseled. Anyone who scores below second class will be flagged for administrative review. The subtext is clear. This is the final exam, pass or get out. The pull-up bars are first. Marines line up. One by one they step up, grip the bar, pull. The infantry Marines knock out 15, 20, 25 pull-ups. Some of them make it look easy. The support Marines do fewer but still respectable numbers. 8, 10, 12. Then it's Harper's turn. She steps up to the bar, grips it. The metal is cold, rough. She pulls, gets her chin over the bar once. Lowers down, pulls again. Her arms shake, not from weakness, from the effort of pretending to be weak. She gets her chin over the bar twice. That's it. That's all Harper Donnelly can do. 2 pull-ups. She drops from the bar, breathing hard. Thorne is there with a clipboard, 2 pull-ups. That's below the minimum for second class. You just failed, Private. Harper doesn't respond, just moves to the next station, crunches. She can do this one without breaking cover. 70 crunches is achievable for someone weak. She completes 72, acceptable, but the pull-ups have already sealed her fate. The 3-mile run is last. The company forms up, runs as a group. The pace is brutal, 6-minute miles. Harper keeps up for the first mile. Falls back in the second. By the 3rd mile she's running alone. The company has finished. She crosses the line at 22 minutes. 1 minute over the second-class standard. Combined with the failed pull-ups, her overall score is failing. Thorne is waiting at the finish line. You failed, Private Donnelly. Report to my office after you recover. Yes, First Sergeant. Harper walks to the barracks, drinks water, changes into her regular uniform, checks the recorder in her boot. Still running. Still capturing everything. This is it, the moment. She walks to Thorne's office. He's there. Captain Holly's is there too. This is the end of Harper Donnelly. Private Donnelly, Holly's says, you failed the company PFT. Your pull-ups were below minimum. Your run time was over standard. Combined with your performance issues over the past week, we have no choice but to recommend you for administrative separation. Harper stands at attention. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Private. I gave you every opportunity to succeed. But the standards exist for a reason. I understand, sir. Thorne speaks up. Sir, I recommend we process the separation immediately. The sooner we can replace Private Donnelly with someone capable, the better for the company. Holly's nods. Agreed. Private, you'll be given 72 hours to outprocess. Thank you for your service. This is the moment, the reveal, the reason for everything. But Harper hesitates. Because once she does this, she can't take it back. Once Victoria Kincaid speaks, Harper Donnelly dies. And with her dies the cover, the mission, the painful, beautiful, terrible performance that has consumed the last week of her life. She thinks about Amanda, thinks about Rivera, thinks about Private Chen and Torres and Martinez and all the people still suffering. Then she speaks. Permission to address the company, sir. Holly's looks confused. What? Sir, before I leave, I'd like to address the company. Say goodbye properly. Thorne interrupts. That's not necessary, Private. Holly's holds up a hand. Actually, I think it's appropriate. We can arrange for you to speak at evening formation. Thank you, sir. Dismissed. Harper leaves. She has until 1700 hours, 5 hours. She spends them preparing, not physically, mentally, going over what she'll say, how she'll say it. The words that will transform her from victim to victor, from weak to strong, from Harper Donnelly to Victoria Kincaid. At 16:30, Colonel Aldrich calls. It's time, he says. Are you ready? As ready as I'll ever be, sir. Remember, the goal isn't to humiliate them. It's to teach them, to show them what they missed. To give them a chance to be better. I understand, sir. And Victoria, yes, sir. My daughter would be proud. She waits, breathes. At 16:45, she walks to the parade deck. The company is forming up. All 43 Marines, plus attached personnel. The company staff. Even some Marines from other units who heard something was happening. Torres sees her, gives her a small nod. Martinez is there too. Her face is sad. She thinks she's watching a good person get destroyed. She doesn't know what's about to happen. Captain Holly's calls the company to attention. We're gathered here to allow Private Donnelly to address the company before she outprocesses. Private, you have the floor. Harper steps forward, stands in front of the formation, looks at their faces, some sympathetic, most indifferent, a few amused. Thorne is standing off to the side, his arms crossed, his face satisfied. He thinks he's won. He's about to learn otherwise. My name, Harper begins, her voice clear and strong, isn't actually Harper Donnelly. Silence, complete silence. The kind of silence that feels like the whole world is holding its breath. My name is Master Chief Victoria Kincaid, United States Navy, Naval Special Warfare Development Group. I'm a Navy SEAL. She lets that sink in. Watches the confusion spread across faces. Watches Thorne's expression change from satisfaction to shock. Over the past 7 days, I've been operating undercover as Private Harper Donnelly. This was a mission assigned by Joint Special Operations Command. The mission was called Crucible Protocol. My orders were to assess the leadership culture of Bravo Company, to document how junior Marines are treated when leadership believes no one important is watching, to observe and record the difference between stated standards and actual practices. She pauses, lets the weight of those words settle. I need you to understand something. Every moment of weakness you witnessed was an act. Every time I struggled, I was choosing to struggle. Every time I failed, I was choosing to fail. Not because I'm incompetent, but because I needed to see how you treat people you perceive as incompetent. She pulls the digital recorder from her boot, holds it up. This device has been recording every interaction, every conversation, every moment of the past 7 days, all of it documented, all of it evidence. Martinez's face goes pale, Torres is smiling. The other Marines look confused, shocked, angry, betrayed. 1,000 emotions rippling through the formation. First Sergeant Thorne, Victoria says, turning to face him directly, "You gave me an impossible task on my first day. A roster update that should have taken 2 days, due in 4 hours. When I completed it, you claimed it had errors, made me redo it. Then gave me a supply cage inventory that required 3 people 2 days, due in 4 hours. When I completed that, you made me reorganize the entire cage overnight. No food, no water, no rest. Thorne's jaw is tight. Everything I did was within regulations." Victoria nods. "Technically, yes, you never violated a written rule. You're too smart for that, but you violated something more important. You violated the principle that leaders develop their people. You used impossible standards not to train but to destroy, not to strengthen but to break. You treated a person you believed was weak with contempt instead of compassion, with cruelty instead of coaching." She turns to the formation. "And here's what you all need to understand. I'm not weak. I have 11 years of service. 47 confirmed combat kills, more deployments than most of you will ever see. Silver Star with Combat V device. Bronze Star with Valor, Navy Cross pending. I've done things in combat that would make your hardest day look like a vacation." She pauses, "But for 7 days I pretended to be weak, because I needed to know how you treat people who are actually struggling, how you respond when someone needs help, how you lead when you think the person in front of you doesn't matter." The company is silent. Even Thorne has nothing to say. "And what I found," Victoria continues, "is a culture of toxicity. A culture where weakness is punished instead of addressed, where asking for help is seen as failure, where people are judged not by their character but by their performance on arbitrary metrics, where the strong thrive and the weak are crushed." She looks at Thorne again. "First Sergeant, you told me that liabilities don't belong in combat units, that people who can't hack it should quit, but here's what you missed. The real liability isn't the person who struggles, it's the leader who can't help them succeed. The real weakness isn't physical, it's moral." She pulls out the 2 sets of dog tags from her boot, holds them up so everyone can see. "These belong to Captain Amanda Aldrich, United States Marine Corps. She died by suicide in 2015. She was 28 years old. She left a note that said she was tired of proving herself every single day." She holds up the other set. "These belong to Gunnery Sergeant Declan Kincaid, United States Marine Corps. My husband, killed in action in Helmand Province, 2020. He understood what leadership meant. He understood that strength isn't about dominating the weak. It's about elevating them. Both of these people deserved better. Amanda deserved leaders who saw her value. Declan deserved to come home. And every Marine who has suffered in toxic units deserves a military that protects them instead of breaking them. She looks at the formation, at Torres, at Martinez, at the young Marines who have been enduring this culture because they didn't know there was another way. Which brings me to you, Victoria says, all of you. Some of you participated in this culture. Some of you enabled it. Some of you just kept your heads down and hoped it wouldn't happen to you. All of you have a choice now. She steps forward. You can be angry at me for deceiving you. That's fair. Or you can ask yourselves why the deception was necessary. Why someone had to go undercover to document what everyone already knew was happening. Why complaints go nowhere. Why good people quit. Why the system protects bad leaders and punishes anyone who speaks up. Victoria's voice gets quieter, softer, but somehow more powerful. I'm not here to destroy you. I'm here to give you a chance to be better. To show you that the standards you've accepted as normal are actually destroying the people you're supposed to protect. To prove that change is possible if you're brave enough to choose it. Captain Holly steps forward. His face is ashen. Master Chief, I don't know what to say. Victoria turns to him. Say that you'll do better, sir. Say that you'll actually look at what's happening in your company instead of trusting reports. Say that you'll hold leaders accountable not just for mission success but for how they treat their people. Holly's nods slowly. I will. I promise. Victoria looks at Thorne one final time. First Sergeant, you have a choice too. You can fight this. Claim it's all a misunderstanding, try to justify your actions, or you can own what you've done and commit to changing. The investigation is going to happen regardless. The only question is who you want to be when it's over. Thorne doesn't respond, just stands there, his face a mask. Victoria addresses the company one final time. The easy thing is to be angry, to feel betrayed, to dismiss this as some kind of political stunt. The hard thing is to learn from it, to recognize that if a Navy SEAL had to pretend to be weak to reveal the truth, maybe the truth was being hidden too well. Maybe the culture is so toxic that normal channels don't work. Maybe the system needs to change. She takes a breath. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect understanding. I just expect you to think. To ask yourselves if this is the military you want to be part of. To decide if you're going to be the kind of leader who elevates or destroys, who protects or punishes, who sees people as assets to develop or obstacles to remove. She salutes the formation. One final salute as Harper Donnelly dies and Victoria Kincaid steps fully back into herself. The company, uncertain, salutes back. Victoria turns, walks away. Torres catches up to her at the barracks. Holy shit. Victoria smiles. It's a tired smile, exhausted, relieved, real. Yeah. You're actually a fucking SEAL. Tor's voice is filled with something between awe and disbelief. I am. And you let Thorne treat you like garbage for a week. I did. Why? Because sometimes the only way to reveal the truth is to let the lie play out completely. Because documentation requires endurance. Because Amanda Aldrich and Lance Corporal Rivera and Private Chin deserved someone to witness what they went through and make it mean something. Torres is quiet for a moment. Thank you. For what? For showing us we're not crazy, that it's not okay, that someone sees it. Victoria nods. The investigation starts tomorrow. JSOC is sending a team. Every Marine in this company will be interviewed, every complaint will be reviewed, every piece of evidence will be examined. And First Sergeant Thorne, he'll be given a choice, retire or face court-martial. Either way, he's done leading Marines. What about Holly's? He's a good officer who failed to see what was happening under his command. He'll receive remedial leadership training. His career will survive, but he'll carry the knowledge that he let this happen. That's its own punishment. That night, Victoria sits in her barracks for the last time. She's no longer Harper Donnelly, no longer wearing the uniform, no longer maintaining the act. She's herself again. Master Chief Victoria Kincaid, Navy SEAL. Woman who proved once again that underestimation is a tactical advantage. Colonel Aldrich calls. It's done, she says. I watched the recording. You did well. Thank you, sir. How do you feel? Tired, empty, relieved, sad, all of it at once. That's normal. The disconnect between the mission and the cost, between the success and the sacrifice. Yes, sir. Will you do it again if necessary? The Crucible protocol is expanding. We're implementing it across multiple units. You proved it works, but we need operators willing to endure what you endured. Will you train them? Victoria thinks about the past 7 days. about the hunger and exhaustion and humiliation, about the moment when she almost broke, about the cost of pretending to be less than you are. But she also thinks about Torres and Martinez, about the young Marines who now know someone was watching, someone who cared, someone who made it mean something. Yes, sir, I'll train them. Good. Aldrich pauses. Victoria, my daughter never got justice. She never got a reckoning. She never got to see her abusers face consequences. But because of you, others will. That matters, I'm glad, sir. The call ends. Victoria lies back on her rack, looks at the ceiling. Tomorrow she flies back to Virginia Beach, back to her apartment with the empty walls, back to being a Navy SEAL without a current mission. But she's different now. Changed. Not broken, changed. She understands something she didn't understand before. That strength isn't just physical. It's not just about shooting straight or running fast or enduring pain. It's about choosing vulnerability for purpose, about using weakness as a weapon, about sacrificing dignity for documentation, about being willing to be misunderstood so that the truth can be understood. She thinks about Declan one last time, imagines him in that doorway again, backlit by desert sun. But this time she can hear what he's saying. I'm proud of you, not for the kills, not for the medals, not for the missions, for this, for caring enough to suffer, for being brave enough to appear weak, for understanding that the hardest battles aren't fought with weapons. I know, she whispers to the empty room, I know, sleep comes easier tonight, dreamless, deep. The kind of sleep that comes when you've done something difficult and survived it, when you've paid a cost and know it was worth it, when you've been broken and put yourself back together and emerged stronger in the fractures. The next morning, Victoria Kincaid walks out of Camp Lejeune for the last time. She's wearing her dress blues. The uniform fits perfectly. The ribbons on her chest tell their story. The trident on her chest marks her as someone special, someone elite, someone who has earned her place in the most exclusive club in the military. She passes First Sergeant Thorne in the parking lot. He's loading boxes into his car, already out processing, already leaving. He sees her. For a moment, their eyes meet. She waits for anger, for resentment, for some final confrontation. But what she sees in his face is something else. Shame. He looks away first, keeps loading boxes, she keeps walking. Sometimes vindication doesn't need words. Sometimes the victory is just in surviving, in revealing, in changing the system one painful mission at a time. 3 months later, Fort Benning, Georgia. A bus pulls up to the 75th Ranger Regiment headquarters. The door opens. A figure steps out. Private Sarah Mitchell, 23 years old, admin specialist. Transfer from Fort Hood, looks nervous, uncertain, weak. She's wearing an oversized uniform, hair in regulation but somehow still messy, carrying a duffel bag that looks too heavy for her. A Ranger Sergeant First Class watches her approach. He's seen 1,000 soldiers arrive. This one looks like she'll last maybe a week. But inside Private Mitchell's left boot, taped to the liner where no one will ever find them, are 2 sets of dog tags. One belongs to Gunnery Sergeant Declan Kincaid. The other belongs to Captain Amanda Aldrich. And beneath the makeup and the padding and the carefully constructed weakness, Master Chief Victoria Kincaid is preparing for war again. Not the kind fought with bullets, the kind fought with patience, with endurance, with the absolute conviction that people can be better if someone shows them how. Because the hardest battles aren't fought with weapons, they're fought with character. And character is built in the crucible of suffering. Sometimes strength doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it hides, waits, watches, documents, reveals, and when the moment comes it speaks with a voice that cannot be ignored. Sometimes dignity doesn't argue, it simply acts, and in that action it changes everything.